Welcome to Stroke of Genius podcast. I'm your host, Aaron Avila. I've got a special guest. This survivor is not just a person I met. I consider her my friend. She had a stroke at age 29 years old. But I want you to meet her. Her name is Vaughn Johnston, and I want you to see it. So let's jump into it.
The Stroke of Genius podcast, hosted by brain aneurysm and stroke survivor Aaron Avila, sharing the experiences of survivors and CEOs. This is your destination for inspiration.
Well, there's Vaughn Johnston herself. How you doing, Vaughn?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
I do really I'm I love my phone line with making a bunch of racket. I'm sorry. All right, so no. I'm doing really good. How you doing this morning, Vaughn?
I'm doing really good.
You are located you live next to County Highland in Pennsylvania, right?
Yes.
And what's the weather like in Pennsylvania this time of year?
It's chilly.
Yeah.
It's up to maybe at most 60s.
I know. We'll be in the 80s here in California. But, I really want to get into your stroke story because to me, there was something I really wanted to talk about. So do me a favor if you would. Give me a little roundabout idea of your stroke life before your stroke, because you had a stroke at a young age of 29. Describe your pre-survivor life. What was it like?
I realized after my stroke, my ideal life. I was completely able-bodied, could walk and use both hands, and I was working in a warehouse at the time, which is a great job for me. It got me moving around. I wasn't sitting at a desk.
Right.
I was very active, and I played video games a lot with my friends.
That's right. You actually really enjoy gaming, and that's something that you're doing to help survivors and you're going to be both dimensions now. So you worked in a warehouse. You were young. 29 years old. Tell the story. What happened? Did you have any pre-stroke? What did you know what stroke was before you had one?
I really didn't know anything about stroke. I knew that my aunt and my grandmom had both had strokes, but I didn't know anything more than that. When I was a kid, I heard if you smell burnt toast, that means you're having a stroke, which don't rely on that information.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was at work. It was almost the end of the day. I was working on the last cart of work that we had to do in my department. And before the stroke happened, I realized that I had a little bit of trouble walking. I attribute this to the blood clot moving from my leg up. And then about 20 minutes after that, my coworker pointed out that my face was drooping.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And I had a brief thought, maybe I'm having a stroke, because I knew that facial drooping was a
sign.
A sign, yeah. And then so I told him I was fine, that I just had a headache, and that the headache was just affecting me more than usual. And I stood there for a moment, like, contemplating whether or not I was having a stroke. And I actually thought, I can't be having a stroke. I don't smell burnt toast. Which is why I say don't rely on that information.
That's too funny, because I have seizures. And I'll be honest with you. There's been several times I have had seizures and I did smell burnt toast.
Hmm.
But Vaughn and I heard to tell you, audience, do not use the burnt toast as the facial drooping was really a
Hmm.
true indicator
Yeah.
that you were having a stroke. And you are age 29, working in a warehouse, you begin to realize you have a stroke. You're having a stroke. In fact, you even mentally thought, I'm having a stroke.
Hmm.
And you ignored it, right? You ignored it.
Yeah, I ignored it because I didn't smell burnt toast.
Oh, God. I can't
Yeah,
believe it.
and I kept working. I was thinking, okay, I'll just push through it and then I'll get some rest when I get home. Because I knew as soon as I was done with that cart, I could go home. Um, and then, so I tried to push through it, and the next part happened really quickly. I got on my vehicle because I drove a vehicle around the warehouse. Otherwise, that would be way too much walking and really inefficient. Um, so I drove my vehicle. I moved it up maybe 20 feet. And when I went to step off the vehicle, I fell because my left leg was no longer working.
Wow.
Yeah, and I couldn't get back up because half of my body was paralyzed.
Right.
And a coworker ran over, and then he saw something was wrong. I told him I couldn't get up. He ran and got my supervisor. And my supervisor came over and they tried to help me get up, but I couldn't. They helped me into a sitting position at least. And they helped me kind of scoot myself over so I could sit up and lean against my vehicle. They got me some water because it was really hot that day. And my supervisor told my coworker to go and get the manager on duty. And the manager on duty asked me a whole bunch of questions. Can you move your arms? Can you move your legs? And I thought I was moving my left side. I still didn't realize that it was paralyzed because I wasn't looking at it. And my brain was sending the signal. And it felt like I was moving because I had lost feeling in that side. So I think my brain was telling me this is what it's supposed to feel like, instead of this is what it actually feels like.
So, did one of your coworkers realize you were having a stroke sometime? Does somebody notice?
Yes, the manager, after asking me all these questions, he was like, "She's clearly not moving the left side of her body. I'm going to call 911." And the 911 operator told him no more water because they were afraid I was gonna stop being able to swallow. And they sent EMTs immediately. And when the EMTs got there, they were the first people to mention the word stroke to me.
My God.
Yeah.
I mean, now reality, Vaughn, you're 29 years old,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, it's had to be one of the furthest things in your mind. And I'm old, but I have my stroke at age 47, but at 29, I can see we kind of sweep it under the carpet and you can ignore the warning signs.
Yeah.
But thank God your supervisor called 911 because I want to. So it's act fast. FAST stands for face drooping, which you had a sign,
Mm-hmm.
which had there been enough awareness when you're younger, somebody would have told you face droop was a sure sign. You knew right then you have a stroke.
Yeah.
Right that second, someone should dial 911. You probably should dial 911 yourself. Could you speak?
Yes, I could speak, but my speech was slurred.
Yeah. Well, we're going to get that. Some guys, face drooping, unwitness. Well, you have that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, speech, you have that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're slurred like me, and I've decided mine will only get away with work, and the T is time.
Hmm.
Now, had you had your way to where you push through and just go home,
Yeah.
there has been stroke survivors have done that. In fact, we have an audience member named Jeff Roberts out there right now who pushed through it, ended up walking home or something crazy thing like that. But time is so critical. The
Yeah.
faster they get you to the hospital, because time equals brain loss.
Yeah. And the for the kind of stroke that I had an ischemic stroke. It was caused by a um, a blood clot. Sorry, my niece was opening my door. I was telling her to go away.
Okay.
Um, they say you want to get to the hospital within 3 hours so that they can administer the TPA, also known as the clot buster.
Right. So did you arrive the time to get TPA or not?
Yes,
So
I was
could
there
be,
within the first hour.
oh, you were.
Yeah.
Okay. So it could be worse for you. You could have been a lot more paralyzed. Right now you're left side affected, right? Like me.
Yes.
You've got you're I've been in wheelchair for about 12 years now, going on 12 years. I can't even left hand somebody you. But there is hope. There is neuroplasticity, and we'll take time and work on that part. But I'm curious, Vaughn, who you are now. What do you remember about being in the hospital?
I remember being rushed into a CT scan as soon as I got to the ER. And I remember vomiting in the hallway on the way to my room. And they told me that that is common after brain injuries. And I was in the ER. I remember a doctor coming in telling me I had a severe stroke. I remember being admitted to the ICU and staying there for about a week.
God.
Yeah, I remember my night nurse's name was Hillary, and she was awesome.
I spent 3 months in hospital, so
Hmm.
um, nurses do all the hard work. They're the ones you
Yeah.
develop a relationship with.
Yeah, exactly. They really do. The doctors are only there to tell you good or bad news.
Yeah, right. I
Yeah,
agree.
they look at the tests, but they're not the ones who take care of you.
I agree.
Yep.
It's really true. So, Bon and I want to give a shout out to all you nurses out there.
Yes.
Thank you for taking care of our stroke survivors.
Hmm.
But Bon, now, so you never lost consciousness during a stroke or after.
Right. Not once.
So you were awake the whole time. So you remember everything about your stroke.
Yep.
That is really. I had a brain aneurysm. I know many other stroke survivors that really don't have recollection of a solid time.
Hmm.
But you were either fortunate or not fortunate, not sure. But when you had a stroke. But I'm curious, did you do rehab in the hospital? Did you do rehab in there?
Not in the first hospital I was in. I was admitted to the hospital that I went to the ER, and then they transported me to a different hospital that had a 24/7 neuro ICU. And from there, I went to a rehab hospital.
So I don't remember, this sounds silly, but do you walk or not?
I do walk.
So, wow, that's unfortunate about that. I know you were young, but
Mhm.
from what I hear, I'm not younger. I'm not, but I told you I found a room is that I am full of memories. It's because I had 47 years of living before my stroke.
Hmm.
But being young has its advantages to where your body actually and your mind and your brain, because you overcome a lot of the. So did you spend? Were you always walking?
No, I wasn't always walking. I did lose the ability for a while, but at the rehab hospital, um, they worked me really hard in physical therapy, and I was determined. I said yes to everything that my physical therapist suggested. And within the first 6 weeks after my stroke, I was walking with a forearm crutch.
Wow.
Hmm.
Now take it from someone like me who's been in Worcester for 12 years. I think it would have. I was pretty messed up. I've still been messed up. I could sit on the edge of bed without falling over. My balance was so bad because I had a brain aneurysm first, and that exploded took out parts of my cerebellum, which is designed for brain for to balance.
Yeah,
But you don't have balance issues at all?
I still do. Um, it's I think it's mostly caused because my brain doesn't trust my leg yet because my proprioception is still messed up.
Yeah, I know that one all too well.
Hmm.
In fact, you touch on something that is true. Yeah, and I'm realizing as I grow up as a stroke survivor that part of what is your brain doesn't trust that you can use your left leg
Hmm.
or you can rely on it, but that comes with practice.
Yeah.
And I'll be quite frank if I don't do the therapy I should because it's been 12 years. But the more that you're able to train the brain and tell it to prove to your mind brain it can trust your left leg, you will then walk and look at you walking. But I do. Let me play this quick commercial, Vaughn. Can I? And then I'll play this quick commercial. And this commercial was selected by Vaughn herself. And so I'll play a quick commercial right now. That's really awesome, Vaughn. Thanks for that commercial. It's cute. We have 7, 8 people out there watch right now, which is great.
Hmm.
But I want to encourage guys, if you have any comments or questions during the podcast, I'll bring your questions up on screen. And Vaughn is an open book, and so am I. You have a comment, a question, please put it in. I see one of the members, which is a friend of mine, excuses me. Can you see that? She calls me Boss Man
Hmm.
because I wear the black cowboy hat. She calls me Boss Man. Her name's Sherry Patterson, and she's in Niagara Falls. But please put your state, your country. There, Jocelyn is out there.
Hi, Jocelyn. Jocelyn is also a good friend of mine.
Thank you for your support, community. Really, really appreciate that. Really, Jocelyn, Sherry, Jeff, thanks for being out there and supporting Susan. Thank you for being out there supporting Stroke TV and Vaughn telling her story, putting herself out there. I want to pause for a minute and see Vaughn right now is making a huge, in my opinion. I don't think Vaughn people know how powerful the story is.
Mm.
You're raising stroke awareness. You may be preventing someone that in their 20s having a stroke go, hey, I remember that show.
Yeah.
It can happen.
Hmm.
So good for you for putting yourself out there and, make raising stroke awareness. But, I'm curious now, at any point what did you first think when you had a stroke? You're in the hospital. You're 29 years old. Walk me through what you're going through emotionally. I just can't imagine.
Well, so it's strange actually. Where my stroke hit is where my emotions come from.
Oh, really?
So I didn't feel like really any emotions, to be
Oh, my
honest.
goodness.
Yeah, they told me I had a stroke and the first thought I had was I knew it. Like I didn't cry, I wasn't scared. The doctors assured me that I would have a good recovery. They told me I'd fully recover. And
Yeah.
yeah, so they were really assuring, and they gave me honestly no reason to be scared. They told me that I got there in time and that I would get the treatment I needed, and I trusted the process.
That is really amazing. I don't think I've ever heard where it was kind of blessing where you stroke hit because it took your emotions out of the game.
Yeah.
I think you're the first person I've ever interviewed that the way their uh, stroke was located made them not feel it and
Mhm.
it's emotional. And this must be a friend of yours.
Yes,
Oh, it's Lewis. It's
Lewis,
Lewis.
yeah,
And
Lewis is a
okay,
friend of mine.
I didn't recognize his name first. That's
Yeah.
Louis. He's gonna be our show. He's gonna be in my show sometime soon. In fact, we're gonna talk about that today. He is a TBI survivor, and he has this idea like me, and I'm really looking forward to doing a show with him. But you know what's you got a lot of fans at that one. You should know. Very popular. And by the way, are you ever going to start business building websites and Facebook pages?
Have I considered it?
Yeah, because I think you're really good at it.
Well, thank you.
Why didn't we tell people about your page? Tell them about your new page and what you're building.
Okay, yeah, I am the founder and CEO of Thrive Recovery, which is not yet a nonprofit, but we are working on that. We're waiting for some investment money to come in so we can get all the paperwork sorted and all the uh, all the fees paid and everything like that. Um, so yes, Lewis had a brain aneurysm.
That was Johnson. Lewis said this.
Hmm.
Lewis said, let's do this. She's excited. And Johnson said she had a brain aneurysm like me. But you
Um,
But I think it's amazing. So Thrive Recovery, how did you ever come up with that? You know me, I'm a big fan of what the work you did.
yeah.
I wish I could afford to hire you. But it's called Thrive Recovery, and everybody out there, go to your Facebook search and type in Thrive Recovery and like Vaughn's Facebook page. It's amazing her work. You'll see me build the website, the Mindset Right branded website, and everything. So check out Vaughn's Thrive Recovery on Facebook. Like it. It's amazing.
Yeah, I came up with the idea when a friend of mine came to me with a business idea. He's a TBI survivor. He wanted to open a thrift shop, and I was like, that's a good idea, but why don't we do a charity instead? Because he lived like way across the country from me, and is opening a storefront uh, several states away would be difficult, I think. Um, so whereas a charity, I could like kind of take control of that project and get it established online, and then we can think about like the physical building later.
Yeah,
And
but I
yeah,
don't mean to interrupt you, but if I remember, you're very educated. People, you tell me a little about your education.
I have a bachelor's degree in English, and I didn't complete my master's degree, but I am halfway through a master's degree in information and library science.
My God, master's degree. All
Hmm.
right, that's kind of badass. I mean, BA is your bachelor's degree is badass, and I know that you can go back and still take your masters. But when I read that in your bio, I'm about to read it on your Facebook page, I don't know where, but that you had some serious education.
Hmm.
That's amazing. And Jocelyn said that's amazing.
Hmm.
Because I don't know how many friends knew that you were like, hold a bachelor's degree. I should have known because what you work on your page, your Facebook page, and stuff, and your website is amazing. And you speak as an entrepreneur. You don't speak as I'm in business. And when you talk about that, I'm so good for you. Kudos you for doing that. But I want as we get down to the end of the show, what advice, say Vaughn, there's a newer stroke survivor, just had a stroke, younger like you, what advice would you give them?
I would tell them it's a marathon, not a sprint. Uh, Recovery can last a lifetime, and don't give up. The only way you won't get better is if you give up. So don't give up. Keep keep working at it.
Right. I think probably I think you tapped into something, a statement. It's a marathon, not a race,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, even when I first started, I thought, oh, they took me into recover. This is no cold, people. This is no flu. It's not you're going to wake up not being stirred by for something. You're going to have to work at it, and you're going to run your recovery. You're rebuilding your life, really, is what you're doing, in my
Hmm.
opinion. You're not recovering. But it's a marathon, not a race. So
Hmm.
take Mon's advice and realize, be patient with yourself.
Yes.
Because it's so easy to kind of get down on yourself, right, Vaughn?
Yes.
So we didn't want you to do that out there, survivor. Don't be dogging yourself, whether you're a TBI survivor or stroke survivor. Don't get down on yourself. You are what you are. Be encouraging and do nothing but positive self talk. Do not get on yourself. So I'm curious, Vaughn. Summarize what it is you've been through, the journey you've been on so far. Do me a favor and summarize what have you learned over this time, basically, what have you learned about life in general?
About life in general, I have learned that friends are vital. Friends and family. Having a good support network is vital. And uh, speaking to people who understand what you've been through, who have also been through it, is very important to um, your life experience, like for your experience going forward. I've noticed, talking to psychologists and doctors who have never had a stroke, they can only tell you what they've seen in other stroke patients, um, or TBI patients. They can't tell you um, what it's like from their own experience.
Yeah, that is so true. So I mean, you realize that, Vaughn, you run a group. Let's tell me about your group. What do you do? Tell me. I personally go I try to go every Saturday, right?
Mhm.
Tell me about your group, your Zoom group.
Yeah, so through Thrive Recovery, I run a weekly support group for brain injury survivors, whether they're stroke survivors, cancer survivors, TBI survivors. Um, it's a place where we can all get together and speak to people who have been through similar challenges that we are going through. And it's every Saturday at 12 p.m. Eastern. You can get the information if you search for a Facebook group called Thrive Recovery's Brain Injury Support Group.
It's really encouraging. So yeah, I encourage anybody out there, go to the group. We sit around and I'm a member. I go there. We just talk. And there's amazing people there. Stroke survivors and I think it's brain injury. I don't know if it's brain injury survivors. We're all brain injured people. I mean, whether it's there is a difference. TBI is traumatic. There's an external blow to the head. Stroke survivors internal. It's different. But I don't know about you, Vaughn, but sometimes I can't tell the difference between TBI survivor and the stroke survivor. Can you?
There is a lot of overlap. There are some differences because with TBIs, the injured place, the injured spot in your brain is more like general, so it can be much bigger, whereas with strokes they're more focused.
All right, I agree. Now your group that you do on Saturday at 9, and people can get more information about the group by going to your Facebook page, Thrive Recovery.
Yes.
But in that group, I enjoy just like you just said, get together with people, like-minded people that know what you're going through. Because no matter how much I try to explain to a family, basically all my friends have left. But what's it like to be a stroke survivor? You can describe that. They have no clue, but the ones that can understand are people that come to your group, and we just talk a lot of times.
Yeah,
That's
we just
great.
talk. We're all friends, and any new person that comes in immediately is a friend also. So we talk about our lives, we talk about our struggles, we talk about our wins, all of it. I try to keep it very positive.
And you do that. I appreciate letting me in the group. Well, we're down the end of the show, Vaughn. I want to thank you so much for being here. Thank you for being part of this Stroke TV podcast, Stroke for Genius podcast. You have a great day, Vaughn.
You too. Thank you. Bye, Chad.
Fire.